Hello, everyone. Welcome to Limitless and Unfiltered. Welcome back. Today's episode, actually, welcome back to Jenny, since you were off being sick, but here we are once again. So, today's episode is actually going to be called Hot Mess but Making Moves. And the reason that we wanted to bring this episode to light is because let's be honest, guys, like some days we feel like we're being held together by either dry shampoo, toddler snacks, breastfeeding, and the sheer willpower that we as women have. And sometimes, during all of that chaos, we're still out here chasing our dreams. So we wanted to talk about how we do this and how you can do this as well. So it's going to be for the mom who steps over all of the Legos, you dodge all your tantrums from your kids, but you're still managing to make the big moves in your life. So, even if it's in those 5-10 minute pockets of your time, you're not alone. We're here with you. We're here to support you and show you that you can make big moves even in a messy bun and an oversized hoodie. And, a lot of people don't talk about that. So let's get talking about how we pursue those goals in the midst of all of the chaos that has to do with motherhood.
You're so funny when you talk about like the messy bun and the oversized sweater. My
Yeah.
husband calls my pajamas my uniform. I'm in my uniform. If I'm at home, I'm in my uniform, which is my cheap and cheerful Amazon pajamas.
Love that. My hair is in a messy bun most days. Let's be real. There's no makeup, there's nothing on. I'm just like, let's just get stuff done?
Yep.
I love that. All right, so we're going to give you a couple of points and then we're going to give you some steps that you can take away from our chat here and hopefully you can implement them into your life and, get things rolling if you feel kind of in that stuck kind of place. So we're here to support you in that. So the first point is the chaos is always going to be constant, guys. Okay. Always. Like Jenny, have you ever felt like, oh, this is just so peaceful?
No, never. Like, oh my God. If a nighttime routine actually like goes according to plan, it's like, oh my gosh, I should go buy a lottery ticket.
Yeah. Exactly, because most of the time it's just chaos. And that's kind of what we want to bring to light is, the social media world shows us a side of motherhood that's like everything is perfect, everything is, smooth and easy. Where in reality it's not like that. Like let me just tell you a story, okay? My kids can go from 0 to 100 in a matter of a millisecond. All right. So we woke up on a very good side of the bed. Everybody was in a good mood. Everybody was doing great. We were all doing our things. And so in my head, I was like, perfect. This is the perfect day. I have them all day long. I'm not working. I'm going to take them out to like a surprise. Surprise usually is like the zoo or the park or something. We were on like the good side of the bed, let's say. Everybody woke up in a good mood. And I said to them, as a fucking mistake, I'll tell you that. I said, if we can have breakfast, we can all head out to a surprise. And like I said, everything was fine. And it was absolute nightmare after that. It became, I want to go now. I want to go downstairs. Why isn't the car on? I'm too hot. I'm too cold. And so I'm all of this while I'm trying to make breakfast, while I'm trying to like schedule a post, schedule a reel. I'm just like doing the most, as a mom. It was a friggin' mess and I was a mess. But, I still showed up, right? I still hit that post button. I don't know how it ended up, but I still hit that post button. I still did all of the things because that's the thing with this whole topic is chaos is not the exception. It's the environment that we as mothers live in. So if we keep waiting for that like calm, this is why I asked Jenny like when do you feel peaceful in your motherhood because I sure as hell there's very few times, right? So if we keep waiting for that calm in order to chase the dreams or the goals that we have in mind, we're going to be waiting forever.
Yeah.
Like we truly what do you think, Jenny?
No, I feel like at the beginning I was very much motivated to play that catch-up game and to be like caught up,
Mhm.
but you're never caught up. Like there's always something that kind of goes to the bottom of the list where the list just never comes to an end.
Yes.
So no matter what, that list is continuing to travel with you.
100%. 100%. And I think with you and I who have been productive women prior to being moms, I think productivity before having kids was one thing and now productivity is different. So my tangible tip is going to be for you listening is going to be reframe what productive looks like for you in the stage of of life that you're in right now. Whether that's, you're pregnant and expecting your child any day, or you're, given birth and now you have kids, or you have toddlers, or you have teens. I think we need to, as moms, reframe what that productivity actually is in our days, because some days it's going to be a to-do list that you can get to and like check off, but other days it's just showing up and like getting your shirt on. So write down like one priority per day, not 500 like you used to prior to kids. Just go with the flow of what your life is doing right now.
Yeah, totally. Like I feel like back in the day I was able to like when I had a day off prior to having kids, I would make a list of all the things that I was like ready to accomplish in that day. And I would get the shit done.
Yeah.
Now I'm like lucky if I can get two or three things knocked off the list, right? Like now I'm like, wow, I'm way too ambitious.
Yeah.
But I think for me, a point to to keep focused on is that you don't need a big chunk of time. You just need to be in a big intention of time. So, people think chasing their dreams means long, uninterrupted hours of flow and, inspiration, but when you're a mom, you're working in these tiny little windows, in between like nap time, watching their favorite show or, literally while they're sitting on your lap and you're just trying to keep as productive as you can when you have the kids, or you're
Right.
putting them in their little jumpy chair while, you're washing the dishes or unloading the dishwasher. But I think the main secret with that is, keeping things and intentional, like keeping in the moment of like, hey, what needs to be done? What's the priority? And knocking off the list what the priority is. And I think the realization that I came to is that, you're not going to get everything done that you want to get done in that one day or
That's
in that time frame, but you kind of prioritize what the important things are to ensure that they're done
it. Yeah.
and kind of map out like, okay, I got to fold the 2 loads of laundry. It's probably going to take me 15 to 30 minutes. And you kind of map that out. You block that off and you're like, okay, going to set my timer. I've got 30 minutes to get that laundry done. And once that's done, I can move on to the next task that I'm willing to dedicate my time to.
I love that. So you're talking like calendar blocking essentially.
Pretty much, I would say, like, not even calendar, I would say, like, hour blocking in your
Yeah.
day.
Exactly. You take them in small chunks of your day, right? I think
Yeah,
too, wouldn't you say that like if we don't do that, it gets overwhelming?
totally gets overwhelming. But I try to, it also does get overwhelming too, like, because right now, our little guy, he's doing 3 naps a day. So we used to have 4 naps. Now we're down to 3 naps, right? And like, his naps are very unpredictable. So I can't even really predict like if it's going to be a 30-minute nap or an hour and a half nap, right?
Gotcha, yeah.
So I always gauge time frames for like the shorter so that I'm not like pissed off if he wakes up in 30 minutes rather than an hour and a half, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say it's like day calendar blocking.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Simplifying your life essentially is what that is.
Yes, absolutely. Trying to anyway.
Especially for us who have been like those overachiever, overproductive kind of women. I think this is a total like pivot into a new lifestyle that we have to embrace. And I think it's so key what you said. Like really break it down into chunks and don't put that pressure on yourself.
Yeah, and it's hard because my personality is like perfection and starting something and finishing it, right? But like, learning to accept that, there's going to be that time where you're going to start something and you're not going to be able to finish it. And like it friggin' internally pisses me off, but I got to try and like mentally let it go because it's just out of my control and it is what it is.
And that's it. And I used to think, segueing into that, I used to think that I had to do it all, just like you said, right?
Yeah.
I had to think, okay, I have to be the present mom. This is all coming from obviously your before becoming a mom, right? So after I had kids, I had to rewire my brain because that was how I thought. I have to be the present mom. I have to still be the hustler. I still have to cook. I have to be the cleaner. I have to be everything, you know? But what I found was honestly I was burning out. Literally burning out, and I was like, okay, I need to ask for help, and I needed to accept that help was not a weakness,
Right.
right? Because I think a lot of us overachievers, overproductive
Yes.
people, oh, wow. I think that we grow up with that mindset like, oh, I can't ask for help because then I'm seen as weak, so I have to just do it all, right?
No, for sure. Absolutely. That's sometimes I feel like, is that a sickness?
I mean, it should be, honestly, because
Yeah.
if we really think about it, asking for help is wisdom.
Yes. No, for sure. I've definitely I've grown out of that stage. I've been really lucky to have like my mom and my mother-in-law who are amazing people and like so helpful.
God.
Like just even like to do laundry and to help me with that or
Yeah.
um
And
yeah.
it's great. It's great that you have that, and if you don't, maybe you create your own kind of like group that does that, right?
For
And
sure.
it's talking and it's having communication, because at this point maybe you can talk to your partner and be like, okay, how about you do bath time while, if you're still running a business, while I do follow-ups with a client, or while I like schedule
For
something,
sure.
right? Like
Yes.
take some of the tasks so that I can do this. Or, it could be like you swapping play dates with like a fellow mom, right? Maybe
Mm.
that's kind of something that would help you too. Or teaching your kids that like mommy is working once they get older, because now I'm in that stage, right, where they can understand me and they can understand that sometimes I have to step away from them, and teaching them that when mommy is working, air quotes, it's not neglect, like that's empowerment. I want them to see that when you prioritize things, you can get things done in the midst of the chaos.
For sure. Yeah, it's definitely, I think for you, Maria, I think you are at a stage in your life with the age that your children are at where, you know, you're able you've kind of bypassed where I am. So like you are so much stronger and wiser when it comes to that. Whereas I don't know how you do everything that you do. And I'd like to say, like, Maria does all the editing for this podcast. And I'm like, where do you find time to do this? Right? Like, your next level, like, that's a lot because like that's like a part-time job on its own, right? And um I think you definitely have a lot more practice than me, which I'm like, I'm still learning. I'm in the learning phase of like time management and trying to, perfect, like being productive when I have solo time.
Yeah, and it's honestly, you're right, and this is why I love like our combo work together, because it shows the two facets of motherhood. The one where you're at, where everything is new and you have no idea, because prioritizing your time before being a mom is completely different than prioritizing your time after being a mom, because
Yeah,
you're no longer prioritizing time around your schedule. You now have to incorporate the schedule of this tiny human that, like you just said, sometimes is so unpredictable, right? But I'm obviously at a much later stage of motherhood, and it's not like I'm an expert in motherhood. My oldest is only 5, so I've only been a mom for 5 years, but it has given me that insight of like, okay, like I know now where to pull the time, but it's honestly because I identified the fact that help was not a weakness. And so I guess from my perspective now, being later on in motherhood, I'm going to encourage you, like listening, to identify an area of your life where you can ask for help this week. Okay, so after you listen to this, see an area of your life of like where you can ask for help, and like actually do it. Like follow through with it. Practice letting go of the guilt of motherhood, of asking for help, because I know all moms suffer through that. And let me
hmm
just give you a little secret, guys. Your kids do not need you 24/7, but they do need you to be a happy you.
right.
That was for me the pivotal point of my mindset, because I'll be honest with you, the first 9 months of my daughter's life, I didn't ask for help at all. Partially
Oh my
because
gosh.
that was, a little bit of anxiety, right? But also because I just felt like I just needed to do everything, and I didn't want to be looked at as the bad mom. But let me tell you, burnout and not showing up for your kids because you mentally and emotionally can't, that's not what your kids need. So
Right.
let go of that, let go of your guilt, and kind of ask for help for that.
One other thing that you said that I really liked was like basically working with like your partner to like get stuff done. That's something I've had to learn because I felt like I'm the mom, I have to do everything, right? Whereas, no, my husband is great. I'm very lucky where, there's some nights like I teach a couple times a year, and there's a couple nights out of the week where like I have to be on teaching and he has to take care of bath time or if the baby wakes up. But like, yes, like
What do you teach?
managing. Pardon?
What do you teach?
I teach with RDHU, the independent practice course.
No way. Okay.
Yeah, so I do that, but I also do like side coaching as well for dental hygienists who decide that they
Nice.
want to open up their own practice.
I love that.
Yes, yes. It's a lot though. Like it's like you think about it and you're like, oh my gosh, like sometimes it's just like too much on your plate. You know what I mean? Like it's just overwhelming because like some weeks are like easygoing, then other weeks are like jam packed, and you're like, oh my gosh, like what the heck is going on, right? But yes, definitely having like a schedule and a plan with your partner is great. I think for us, like having one kid, like makes it a little bit maybe easier. I don't know. For us, it feels hard, but like to, maneuver a second kid, that's a challenge, right?
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, definitely being on board and like taking on taking on different victories together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another thing that I definitely I try to comprehend in my head, Maria, is it's better to ensure and to know that like progress is something much better than trying to perfect something. So
Which is
I don't
hard.
know. Pardon?
Which is hard to
Oh, yes, for sure, right? Especially when like your personality is OCD or perfectionist, Some weeks you can be on fire and then other weeks you can feel like you've made absolutely no progress whatsoever on any type of goal, right? Um, but then you can kind of look back and realize that, oh my gosh, I'm so much better off now than I was 6 months ago, right?
Yep. 100%. That comes
So
with your like self-awareness and really taking the time to look how far you've come, right?
yes. And it's also really hard, like when you're in the moment to realize, you're doing okay. Because really, you don't feel like you're doing okay because you're like, oh my gosh, 2 years ago, I would have been at, you know, bypassing this like no problems, right? The truth is, you don't have to do everything perfectly all the time. You just have to make sure you're keeping and showing up every single day and every single week and every single month.
I love
And
it.
things always do get better.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what can you like give our listeners a tip that they can take away from that? Apart from trying to change your mindset, which is the hardest thing to fucking do.
I get into these mindsets like when things get really difficult, I'm like, oh my God, things are really hard and there's so much to do and there's like so much on my plate. And I'm like, but then I break it down and I'm like, okay, let's get past the one hurdle first. And then once you get past that one hurdle, you're like, okay, here comes the second hurdle. Let's deal with this. And you get past that. I just kind of like break it down and I try to make them like milestones.
Ooh, love that.
Yeah. Um, and try to fulfill and, basically, I'm a highlighter girl. I like to like fulfill a goal or an obstacle and highlight it off my list in the sense of it's fucking gone. Okay, on to the next, right? Um,
So kind of like a tracking method.
I'm a tracker. I'm a writer downer. I write everything down. And if I don't write it down, I'm not going to remember it.
Yes.
But like every week, I usually make a list. Like I have a calendar in my office that I write on. And I map everything out for the month because, if I don't write it down, I'm going to forget it. And I map down like lunches or meetings or courses I'm teaching or, goals that I'm trying to fulfill. And as soon as it's done, I highlight it. But every month I write it down. Shit changes all the time. And I just scratch it out and adjust as needed. But I always make daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals of things that need to be done.
I love that.
And like for instance, this month, one of my goals is to get my kid's passport in the works.
Oh my God, that's gonna be the cutest picture.
Yeah, so like that's like one thing. I'm like, okay, like I've been working on this passport. I've got all the documents done, but I need to get his picture taken now, right? So I'm like, okay, let's get this done. And then the other thing is I'm trying to like change my last name to my husband's last name, right? So that's another goal that I have. And these are like small personal goals, but then obviously there's like my work goals, my business goals, I have those that I constantly I'm always working towards. But I write it down and I feel like when I write things down, I tend to follow through a lot better.
Yeah, 100%. It is. It's tracking because I do the same thing. I track absolutely everything, whether that's business related, conversations that I'm having with people, any follow-ups that I have to do with people, whatever it is, right? Like
Yeah.
people need their appointments. It's tracking. And
Yes,
I really
always very
don't,
important.
yeah, I don't know how people don't track things. I'm also like you though. I'm a very pen to paper girl for
Yeah.
all of my important things. I'm pen to paper. We do live in a digital world and I know there's notes on your phone and you can do all that, but there's scientifically something strong between what you write on a piece of paper and actually
Mm-hmm.
publishing it. So yeah, I love that. All right, so we're gonna wrap this up. Okay, this is
Today's
short,
a short and sweet one.
sweet, but I think it's very powerful and impactful. So, being a hot mess because this is what the whole episode is about. It doesn't cancel out any of your dreams. We want you to know that, okay? If anything, it actually gives them more meaning. I find. You're showing your kids, this is obviously for moms, so you're showing your kids what resilience looks like.
That's
You're
a good word. Brazilians. I like that.
yeah, I love it. And I think we're living proof of that. I think all moms are living proof of resilience, and sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit for the things that we do. So knowing that, like, you're also proving to yourself that messy progress is still progress. And I think if we let go of the perfectionist side of all of us and the whole, I want to be everything and do everything for my kids, you're going to see that you're still progressing every single day. Some days they're going to be massive progress, and other days the progress is going to be one or two things that you can get accomplished, and they can be so small but so impactful in the long run, right? Like small things compounded over time will give you that success.
For
Because
sure.
honestly, like mamas that you're listening to this, the world doesn't need another polished influencer, okay? Like
No.
there's enough of that on the internet where they give you all the perfection and creative things and all every their life looks perfect and we all
But
know
it's not. It's not real.
that's what I'm saying. It looks perfect, but we all
Yeah.
know behind the scenes it's not. So, because that exists on the internet, the world needs actually more real women like Jenny, like myself, and like you who are listening that are doing the dang thing. And you're doing it with, spit up on your fucking shoulder. Okay. You're doing it rocking your baby, breastfeeding them, bottle feeding them, whatever it is. You're doing it in that messy action, but you have your dreams in your heart and you're still going after it. All right.
Totally. Good way to say it, Maria.
So here's what we want you to take away from this episode, guys. Number one, embrace the chaos. Okay. Don't wait for it to disappear before you take action because, again, like we said, messy action is still action. Um,
And if you cry about it,
yes. Well,
if
please.
you cry about it, it's okay. And just know, sleep on it because you're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to be like, why did I fucking care so much?
Exactly. You just have to let it out, just let it out. Okay. So also use your time, whatever time you have, but use it with fierce intention, like Jenny said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Intentionality is going to kill anything else. Lean on all of the support that you can without feeling guilty. and celebrate every single step that you have moving forward, whether that's tracking them and however big or small that is. That's all we would like you to take away from this episode. Short and sweet, and hopefully you can apply these, tips that we've given you through both of our examples and life experiences, which bring you the two different facets of motherhood.
Good way. Good way to end this, Maria. Well
Yes.
said.
Thank you. So thank you guys for spending this messy, beautiful time with us today. So
And
that's
stay tuned. We have some pretty awesome guest speakers coming up in the next couple weeks.
love that.
Some pretty great stuff to chat about,
Yeah, I'm excited.
and we will be on air again soon.
Absolutely, guys. If this episode hits home, please share with another mama in need who's chasing those big dreams or goals. The way that we grow in this podcast venture is through word of mouth and you sharing it with someone who you think might need to hear our words. So please do so, subscribe, leave us a comment, and our DMs and email is always open for you guys to reach out.
Have a good night.
Till next time.
Bye.